Welcome back to Rebel Skill. This is the Micro Galaxy Squadron TX-225 Occupier tank, or the Imperial Combat Assault Tank, or what is sometimes called the Imperial Combat Hovertank. It's not a hover tank, and there's a story behind that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I think Micro Galaxy did a really nice job with it. There's a few small things that I wish could have been changed, but I understand you're limited by what you can do. First thing is it has two pilots because I bought two of these. It technically only comes with one, but it's worth getting two because this is a brand new trooper mold. I think it's worth having the extra one. As for features, these cannons on the side go all the way around, and they don't actually go any further down. The cannon, the turret on the front, moves back and forth, as you can see. The entire front panel lifts up, and it gives you a very detailed cockpit and a very detailed interior, which you can see. The driver actually fits very nicely in there, and it folds down really nicely, like the way that if the driver wouldn't fall out of his seat, folds down really nicely, and you just have the head popping out of the tank hatch. As for the back, you've got the cargo, the kyber crystal containers that pop out. You've got the actual bed. The bed can be flipped around if you want to just have it displaying nothing, which is kind of neat. Flip it around to actually give you the access points, and these work for a lot of different things. You can attach speeder bikes of different types to it. If I can get that in there. Where's that? So those fit very nicely. You cannot get this bike on there. It will sit, but it doesn't go back far enough to actually get the little peg in there. Strangely enough, you can actually get a bark speeder on there. That's the new one, the Wolfpack bark speeder. So if you wanted to put bark speeders on there, you can do that. I'm sure there are several others that will actually fit on there. But it's really neat that this thing, which has those little connectors right there, this thing fits on there so perfectly. And it gives you the option of adding the speeder bikes if you want to do that. For a few other things that I think are pretty cool, it does feature rolling wheels, clear rolling wheels, a lot of the action fleet vehicles do. It's kind of neat that they included that, and you see the tracks, and that comes from the fact that this was originally going to be a hover tank. When they were making Rogue One, they were going to make this a hover tank. Well, they were building it on the Alvis Stormer, which I'll put a link in the description of that particular vehicle. It's a British light multi-purpose APC. In particular, they used the Alvis Stormer Flatbed, which was basically this part of the tank. It was like this part of the tank. And then it just had a flatbed in the back. It was a military carrier for cargo. And they added all of this stuff along the side, this stuff right here. All of this stuff is part of the tank. And funny thing is that the actual tank driver, the Royal British Military, I don't know what the designation is, but he was a military tank driver. That was him that you see in Rogue One. He actually sat there and drove the tank. The person up here and everybody else were actors in costume. This one was an actual tank driver. He was driving the tank the whole time. And they can only go so fast. And it's a tank. It drives on track. So the turning is very tank-ish. It's very slow and methodical. At the same time, Dave Filoni was doing Season 4 Rebels. He saw the design, wanted to include it, but the Rebels team treated it as a hover tank. So it's, bouncing around and going really fast. The one in Rogue One had to be an actual tank. So they have two different designations now in Wikipedia, two different types of these things. One being the tracked vehicle, which is the most common one, and then one being the Hovertank variant, which they tend to get used interchangeably, but this one clearly, even though it's called a Hovertank, not a Hovertank. These little cannons, if you want to, you can pop these out. They're not that hard. Well, I say they're not that hard. That one's getting a little hard. Let's try this one. Yeah. So these actually, if you try, you could pop these out if you wanted to customize something. Because these only rotate 180 degrees, you would have to make sure that you get the correct one in the correct side, or else they're going to be rotating downward instead of upward, and that would be very weird. This panel is pretty easy to pop off if you wanted to paint the interior. It's got little openings on either side. You just pop this off and you can paint the interior all you want to. My issue with this, the dry brushing is okay. I mean, it gives it that weathered look. It's not bad. I kind of wish the hatches were, instead of being molded on, I wish you could actually flip the hatches. The size is what bothers me. This is supposed to be 1/72nd scale, and it's not. Because this is the one from the Legion game, which is 1/47th. Those figures are 1/47th. And even though I haven't finished this, there's a soldier next to it. This is 1/47th scale. This is 1/50th scale, the micro galaxy. And I wish they had gone a little bit smaller. Even though I love this tank, I love having another model of it, I just wish they had shrunk it down a little bit more. It doesn't have to be fully 1/72nd, but as it is, it's closer to 1/47th, 1/48th scale than it should be. But in terms of detail, they got everything correct. You've got the little greeblies that are on the side right there. You've got those. You've got the greeblies right there. These are like the little radiator panels on top. All of those are there. A lot of these little bits are on there. I don't know what those are exactly, but this one I heavily modified with a lot of photo etch pieces to make it as accurate as possible. It's still a work in progress, obviously. But this one, Jazzwares did a very good job at copying as much as they could and trying to get it as accurate as possible. The barrels, the actual laser cannons, and I don't know if this is going to show up. Let me brighten that up just a tad and see if I can get this to zoom in here. See if it'll... No, it's still trying to focus on that other one. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So the tips of the laser cannons are actually they're actually indented a little bit. So instead of just being flat, they actually have a little divot in there, which I think is kind of cool. If you wanted to drill them out and make them look even more accurate, you could do that. So instead of being perfect, I mean, it's not perfect, obviously. Instead of being the correct scale, you do get something that I think would lend itself very well to being customized. Again, the only real downside, mostly the only real downside for most people, is that it only has the one figure. You need to get a second one because you really do need both of the guys in there. And it's a common vehicle, and it'll probably pop up again in another release. I'm sure that at some point they'll do a 2-pack of this or a pack of one of these and an ATST. Speaking of which, if you wanted to, you could put, I think somebody already showed this, but you could squat down an ATST and put it sat down on the back there. But that's an issue because this is 1/100th scale, this is 1/50th, so this is twice as big as it should be. So you're running into some scale issues that I think they could have avoided if they had tried, but it is what it is. And I think overall, this is just, it's really cool. It's really cool to see it. It's really cool that it is incredibly detailed, incredibly accurate. If you have the the Rogue One guide, visual guide, they have a cross section of this, and that's actually what the interior was drawn to look like. So they copied that pretty much perfectly. The only thing it's missing is a little coffee mug from the side, which in that visual guide, one of the artists, I guess he loved coffee because he actually drew like a little coffee or calf mug on one of the little railings there, which was kind of cool. But I think it's great. Scaling aside, some minor detail issues aside, I still think it's really cool. Really cool design. I love the dual use of this. This was very genius on their part, something that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, so check it out. Go buy one or two because you want the extra figure. And check out the Alvis Stormer. Look up some pictures of the Alvis Stormer flatbed, and you will see all of this detail, all of this upper hull detail that is like exactly copied. It's spot on. I'm very impressed with it. Anyway, thanks guys. Like, subscribe, do all those things so that my channel is liked. Thank you.